All right.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great. How about you, Jason? Good to see you, man.
Good. Good to see you too. Hey, it's Jay Lips, Dr. Jason Lipscomb, DDS, FICOI, some other abbreviations at the end of it. Russell Schaefer. How you doing, man?
Doing great, Jason. How about yourself, man? Thanks for coming on with me. I appreciate it. I know I kind of harangued you into this presentation. I've been begging you to come on with me for the longest time.
I love a good haranguement.
Exactly.
It's been since college since I've been harangued. But no, yeah, Russell and I are going to have a class in Midlothian, Virginia, coming up at the end of May, and we are just really excited about it. Russell probably more than me. I don't get excited about much, but I'm still on the verge of excitement about this class. It's going to be a good one.
I really am too, Jason. I think what's kind of the coolest thing, honestly, is I've kind of changed my opinions a little bit. I love talking dentures, but I've been kind of getting a lot of feedback. People want me to talk more about digital design and talk about 3D printing. So I've kind of changed up the class a lot. The class is officially titled Dentures Fit, Bite, and Smile, but I've kind of changed over all to just 3D printing, 3D digital design. And so I've just changed it up completely. Everyone I've talked to who's taken the class so far wants to talk about 3D digital stuffs. My class online is all about digital and analog tech. I mean, it's all about analog techniques. So anybody feels like they got kind of jaded on that, you can take the class online. That's part of the package for buying the class. So you get the online stuff for no extra charge. But
Ooh.
anyway,
And it's
yeah,
all
that
shirtless.
exactly. It's all
It's all,
shirtless. You get to
yes.
see this massive white body underneath the whiteness. I mean, it's just
Yes.
exactly,
You just don't get
exactly.
that a lot in dental
You don't
education
get that a
these
lot.
days.
It's just you don't get that 3D dentist. You don't get that for C Tarun. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It is
Gordon,
not. It
Gordon
is.
Christensen tried it back in the 80s, but
You might
it
get that
didn't
with
take
Corey
off until
Glenn.
now.
You might get that with Corey Glenn. Yeah. But anyway,
Yes.
you know, I will say that kind of the one thing I wanted to have people come on for is I think that the one thing I find with my courses that I found to be the most useful is that I want people to come away learning one thing that they get out of my course. There is so much in the world of 3D printing. I mean, I know I right now literally am looking at 2D 3D printers in front of me. I got Dentique and Soul in front of me. I've got two Prussas behind me, two toy printers behind me. In my reception area, I've got two other printers. I've got a Nextdent 5100 and I've got a Arpod from Arfana as well. Jason, what printers
And
do
you're
you have right
sitting on
now?
a Formlabs.
I'm sending a Formlabs.
You're,
Actually, I
you're,
got yeah, yeah. What printers do you have? You got an Einstein, right? And you got a Sprint Ray, correct?
yes, my first printer was a Formlabs, and then I went to Sprint Ray, and then I recently, in the past year, had gotten an Einstein from
Yeah.
Desktop Health, and I have the Sprint Ray Pro 55 coming next week. So excited to try out some of the new resins that they have out there for
Ex-
that.
that's exactly it. Like there are so many printers on the market. There are so many different options out there with printing. I think that it's really easy for anyone who's getting into the space just get really overwhelmed. And that's kind of where I like to start with everyone. It's like saying when someone says I want to get 3D printing, I say, well, what problem are you trying to solve? Because there are so many options out there. Jason, I got to ask you, how did you get started with 3D printing? Like, what were you trying to solve? What did you get started printing doing? Like, what were you trying to do?
I was just intrigued by the possibilities, and kind of looked at this many years ago, and at that point, 3D printers in dentistry were pretty limited. So, I mean, you
Hmm.
didn't have really any intraoral safe resins. Mostly you were just looking at models. Um, but it was I had a Cerex since probably about 2003. So I've been used to scanning. You become pretty familiar with the digital model and the digital mindset from there, and then have had several scanners of different types since then. um, you start to see that digital model and you want to do more stuff with it. So
Hmm.
there were limitations with the technology at that time, but you have the digital imaging and you're like, how can I translate this into real world?
Hmm.
So I think one of the big things for me was being able to print out the models, and then this was a time of Blue Sky Bio was starting to come
Hmm.
into prevalence a little bit, and people talking about making your own surgical guides and things like that. So it kind of developed alongside on a parallel path with my knowledge of dental implants.
Hmm.
Um, so I kind of started learning more about dental implants, and then meeting. more advanced stuff like surgical guides. So it kind of lined up. So that was the big thing for me that really stuck out at first. So
So it
that
was
was and it solved the problem. Yeah.
so it was kind of organic almost. Like it was kind of like, you know, you went from CIRAC back in the 2000s to kind of like saying, oh yeah, I can print out model work, and oh yeah, surgical guides kind of a natural evolution because it's the surgical guides are just so damn nice. Like hell, when I hear people
Oh
say
yeah.
like one of my friends up the road pays like $200 for a surgical guide, I'm like, wait, what are you paying for a surgical guide? Like how much? I can't believe that someone pays $200 for a surgical guide. First of
Yeah.
all, when I can print one out for like $25. I almost tell him like, hell, I'll
Oh
print you
yeah.
one out for free. He's like, wait, what? And I said, yeah, you just give me the model and I'll print it out for you. He's amazed that I can print out for so damn cheap. Um, no, actually, I can tell you my litmus test was when I saw Corey Glenn post on it back in March of 2018 when Blue Sky Bio finally showed their denture software, and I said, holy shit, this solves my denture problem so much for being able to print out an
Hmm.
immediate denture within a week. I said, I'm buying this today. I invested like I think $11,000 in a whole new system for the Moonray, a Shining 3D DSEX scanner, and a nice laptop, a nice computer. And man, that thing made back all my money within 2 months. Like literally,
Hmm.
you know, what is it? You sell a set of immediates, a cheap immediates, and do two full mouth extraction cases, and those are profitable cases. As I'm sure anybody who does full
Yeah.
mouth extraction cases, that's easy money. You just find one perio case, and you just tell them 1 week later on, we'll get you all back. So that was kind of my defining moment, saying, "Yep, I can tell you right now, March 2018, when I saw Corey Glenn say we're making immediate dentures, and I said, "Oh my god, I got to do this." And that's how I got my start. But yeah, it's anyway.
And you
But
and you
that's
also had you also had somebody like Corey Glenn who
oh yeah,
shared a lot. So I mean,
mm-hmm,
before you had a lot of dental education had been gated. You know, you
mm-hmm, oh
take
yeah,
the course,
yeah,
or you don't learn about it. And we didn't have the digital sharing that back
mm-hmm,
then. So I mean, if you didn't take the course, you didn't know. So you had
yeah.
somebody like Corey Glenn who's
God
a
bless Corey
freaking
Glenn. Like,
genius, yeah, and
but
putting it all out
not
there for
only a genius, but
free.
also
So
a very good guy who gave away everything. That's a large part of it, I
yeah,
think. Um,
yeah.
but
And two, I saw somebody yesterday. Saw somebody yesterday made a comment. I think it was on Dental Disrupt Nation, was talking about, all this digital dentistry is people are getting away from the fundamentals of making dentures and this, that, and the other thing. And it made me think that, a lot of the way that we used to make dentures in the analog world was just based on the limitations of the stuff we had. So I mean,
mm-hmm,
we had to use wax rims because you didn't have any alternative. So I mean,
mm-hmm,
everything, all the basis that we've ever known on dentures was kind of based on that.
mm-hmm,
And I think that digital dentistry is disrupting because we didn't have any way to easily create different variations of teeth to pop in there.
mm-hmm.
No, this is too long. This is this, that, and the other thing. So I think we're establishing a new baseline for what's appropriate in making dentures, just because of the technology that we have. So it's not totally overlooking the basics. It's just being able to utilize this technology and really
I,
more accurately addressing the basics.
I completely agree. I think the biggest thing for me is that my mistakes are a lot cheaper now. Like I posted a case last week where
Yeah.
I goofed a case really badly. I goofed an immediate case and I said, "Oh my god, I messed the cant up horribly." And I do a lot of dentures, and I'm willing to admit I made a mistake. Whatever. And I told the patient quite bluntly, said, "I messed up here. I'm going to fix you up." And she looked at me and said, "Really? You're going to fix me?" I said, "What's it going to cost me?" I said, "Nothing, ma'am. I'll take care of you." And she was just like, "Okay," because she already had a jacked up smile anyway. And she was willing to give me one more week and one more try. And we're fixing it right now. I'll post the case up probably next week or so. Um, but I think the really nice thing about digital dentures is that when I make a mistake, I'm not going to eat another $500, $800, $9,900 lab bill. It's a $25. It's a $100 lab bill at most, honestly. And that's really where the power is the ability for me to do something within a week, do it quickly and do it cheaply, and give the patient a similar result. So we're able to do things better, faster, cheaper, and get the same or better. It's still the same result that's faster and cheaper, and so everyone's winning. You know, and that's my opinion on it. It's like as long as it's win-win for both me and the patient, who cares? And that's how I look
Yeah.
at it honestly. Um, but yeah,
And programs like Blue Sky Bio is collecting data too. So
Hmm.
they're going to have AI driven stuff, teeth positioning, arch size, tooth
They got all my
morphology.
data. I gave them literally about
Yeah.
100, 200 cases or so of all my cases for the last 4 or 5 years, so they can see Michael Salzman can see how I've improved the last 5 years or so, and they're trying to like develop all this stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how they what they get to. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But it also means that
yeah.
they'll give you something more predictable
Oh no,
right off the bat instead
I
of
think so too. I'm
dicking
excited
around all
about
the
that.
time.
No, I think I'm excited. I like Blue Sky Bios. I like Blue Sky Bio because I think they're doing it right. Because how many? Not every dentist needs exocad. Most dentists are not doing 20 cases a month. They're doing 1 or 2 denture cases a month at best. They're not doing 4, 5, 6 implant cases a month. They're doing maybe they're doing a dozen implant cases a year. That's what most dentists are doing, I think. Um, but anyway, so also to tell you too, we're kind of lucky with our course. We got 3 different printer systems out there. We got your 2 Einsteins, and you got your Sprint Ray. We're gonna have Accurata come out, and they're gonna send us a printer, which is really awesome. Pactent's gonna send us some resin, so we're gonna play with the Pactent resin crowns. I guess is Sprint Ray gonna send us the resin crown, send us some resin too? Do you know if we got that Sprint Ray resin to play with it or not?
I will have some resin. I don't know if they'll. I'll get some.
Okay,
So if
okay, cool.
I'm hoping
We'll
I'm hoping
figure
I'll
that
be
out.
up and running enough to
Yeah,
know how to print some crowns.
yeah. Well, we also got
I'm sure I
another
will
cool
be
thing.
able to.
We got our course as well as we got clinics. Clinics is going to give us a couple weeks trial for all of our participants.
Yeah.
Armin was kind enough to do that. Um, and then also Blue Sky Bio will give everyone free credits to take our course. So they get enough like 5 free credits to learn how to do it. But anyway, let's go through a quick presentation. These are about the things I want to talk about. What you can make from our from taking our course, Jason. So I kind of want to give you a little commentary. What your thoughts are on what I've kind of presented here. So give me your critique here, Jason. These are my thoughts. What do you think about what I got here? Okay. So this is kind of a little thing. Find your unicorns. What we were talking about. We're kind of like talking about different ideas. And let's see how do I should know how to do a
Not enough Comic Sans, if you ask me.
not enough. I need more Comic
Ah,
Sans. Like there we
yes.
go. So you know the first thing we're talking about obviously is dentures. I'm a denture guy because I love dentures and dentures are just beautiful. I feel there's not enough acrylic in the world. I think that as we do more implants, we are going to be the ones replacing implants with titanium with acrylic. And so we are, of course, even though we're no longer a denture course, we're going to be talking dentures. So we're going to be doing complete dentures first of all. Um, Jason, what's the lab bill on a denture? What do you expect to pay for a denture?
Oh God, I don't even know.
$300 to $500 in my
I don't
opinion.
even hazard. Yeah,
Wouldn't you say that?
probably 400 if you start messing around and having a lot of remakes.
Yeah, it's $400 or so. That's for a decent denture. My goal is to get you to about $50 for an arch. And this is one in Blue Sky Plan. The biggest complaint you'll find with Blue Sky Plan is just the ridges, the flanges right there. I'll tell you that's not that big of a deal. These take about a minute or so to polish down with a good handpiece. I buy the hand pieces off of Amazon. This really takes me about literally 10 minutes to design right now. And this is what they look like. This is Pactent glaze. This was a guy who has kind of crummy, arches. Not my prettiest work, but he's kind of an ugly guy anyway. So, this is kind of a denture we're going to end up making right here. Anyway, but these look better in the mouth than look in the. I'm not a Vu Lee photographer. So that's one. That's kind of one set of dentures we're making for him. Immediate dentures. This is kind of my bread and butter. This is really where I tell people to go to. I think that immediate dentures are the biggest money makers for printing. And the reason is because they're so darn predictable and they're so darn forgiving as well. Um, you
Watch
know,
your language.
yeah, they're what part of language are you talking about right now? But you know,
Yeah. Darn
Jason, I
this,
guess
darn
like
that.
darn this, darn that. You know, but Jason, I guess like up in Richmond, do y'all have many? Do you do many immediate dentures in your office, or have you done many immediate dentures?
It seems to come in waves. So just like
Yeah,
a lot of stuff in dentistry, it seems like you'll have 5 million of them, and then you won't have anything for 6 months, and you'll do it again. But
yeah.
um, in previous years, yeah.
See, in my office, like these are my money makers. Really, like if I get like one of these cases a week, I would just be in heaven. But the real trick with immediate dentures is you get them in, you say, hey, you know what? Come back to see me in a week. We'll scan you right now. Come back to me in a week, and we're gonna pull all your teeth out, and we'll give you some dentures. And the nice thing with these ones is that even if you mess up, it doesn't matter too much because they're just easy cases to do. So like you get a patient like this right here, they're already ugly, so you can't really script these cases. and you have a denture like this. And I like doing these ones in monolithic as opposed to the last one, which is, printed base and printed teeth. So you get a guy like this right here, or this is actually a gal like this, and we put the teeth in right there, and okay, so our bite's a little bit off, but we did the best we could right here. And right now, actually, she's about at the 1 month healing part. What I like to do for a lot of these cases right here to sell them is we'll pull the teeth out. I'll give her a healing denture immediately or immediate denture. At the 1 month part, I'll give her a second denture for no charge, and that really helps sell these cases. Plus, you don't have to do any relines for them. And that second 1 month healing denture is so cheap to make. I'm a huge fan of that, just because it saves the relines, it saves the headache and heartaches. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's good.
if you've done multiple relines over time, you know it's just a pain in the ass. It
They're
just
a pain. They really
just
are,
seems
but
like it's time suck.
it's a time suck. But patients hate it. But you know what? Like yeah, their time suck. They're just awful overall, and patients that aren't happy in your office. Like it just, you just do one simple, you do a remake on these ones at the 1 month mark. Everyone leaves happy with them. And the only thing I gotta be careful of is patients will try to milk these for like they'll be like, I've got one guy right now who's trying to like saying, oh, well, let's hold off on that second 1 month remake. You gotta have like that. You gotta literally have like a 1 month. You gotta have like the in my office. I got like the 2 month cutoff. Like after 2 months, I'm not remaking the second one because they'll try to like hold off for the 6 months to be like, like, oh, doc, I want my 1 month remake at the 6 month mark. No, you don't get that. They're trying to get the final one for free. Anyway, just something to be
Well,
careful about
the good thing too, Russell, when you get into this digital stuff, I mean, you can use these temporary dentures as
as
impression
relines.
trays.
Oh yeah,
And you
they're
can
phenomenal.
reline, you can scan them.
Yep,
This is your bite registration. You know,
yep.
this takes the place of a lot of different things within the denture process.
Oh, it's so nice. It saves you 2 appointments right here, and there's some
Yeah.
people who say like it's phenomenal. It saves you appointments because time is money. If you run a really busy office, like I guess if you're a guy who sees 2 patients a day, then yeah, this doesn't make you this. You don't need to worry about time. But if you're seeing 5, 10, 20 patients a day, then yeah, every single appointment is valuable time. You know, and this is stuff too you can delegate out to your assistants. This is easy stuff to teach too. Um, One thing we do of course is I actually have no problem with teaching assistants at all of this stuff. These are easy things to teach. These are not um, doctors only skills, in my opinion. And one thing too, I'm trying to compile a list of is I'm trying to compile a list of like digital designers to give out all my courses. I don't I sound like I'm shilling right now, but I'm not. I I'm trying to get a list of designers who actually do dentures and RPDs because I know some doctors don't have time for this stuff. You know, I do my own design work because I love doing it. But if you need to have someone else do this stuff, let's find designers. Like there's so many good lab techs out there who do this work. I want to find good designers for you. So I'm going to find a list of designers to go out on my courses and put them out there because I want other lab techs to find this work. But yeah, my hope is that
And there's plenty of them out there, that's for sure.
yeah, that's exactly it. They want work. They'll charge you like maybe $50 an hour for it. But if that's $50, if that's 1 or 2 hours of free time that you don't have to worry about, go for it. In my mind,
The six-year-old Russian kid out there just pumping out denture designs.
no, it's Ukrainian now. We support Ukrainian.
Oh,
Okay,
okay,
yeah,
that's right.
partial dentures. Now this is the big one. Partial dentures are a lot more common than regular dentures, just because there's more people with partials than regular dentures actually. And Blue Sky Bio has finally gotten a lot better with partials than they have in the past. I convinced them to actually make this as a service. I love partial design. We'll be teaching this. I got a whole really good cases for it. You'll get a lot of patients who need flippers. These are great for implant cases. I know some people don't like teaching them, but I think they're wonderful. Like this is a case I did kind of pro bono. Patient kind of she's trying to get her life back on track, and you can kind of imagine like this is a young woman she's made some poor decisions. She had a rough life, and you need front teeth to get a job. That's my opinion. So this is. We used Pactent Rodan Sculpture, which is a fairly cheap resin, but I love it just because you can actually make a regular crowns out of it, ceramic crowns now with the new ADA codes, but it's still pretty cheap. And yeah, she's gonna wear this for 6 months while she's healing, but hopefully she can get a job and get her life back on track. So patients love these, and they're pretty easy to print. These snap right on in, and I give a 6 month warranty on these. But we'll teach these how to do these as well. So have you ever played these, Jason? Very much.
I have not played with the partials, but I mean, it would definitely be definitely
Oh,
worth it, especially with the flipper. For I've treated playing like 15 flippers this week. It feels like.
they're phenomenal. You'll love them. Like if you get a designer to do these for you, they're so much easier. They're so easy to print out now, and they fit just so nice. I actually did a one tooth partial where we did like the flipper style partial. I was impressed by how well it fit um, with that Curo Crown and Bridge material. And this is the bottom one
Wasn't that a
for her.
song by Stevie Nicks?
Which one?
One teeth partial.
Oh, see, I'm kind of just a little bit. I'm just a little bit too young for that reference. Honestly, it's kind of sad. I should
Oh
know
my
that one,
goodness.
but
Yeah,
all right, old man. But
my age is showing.
yeah, exactly,
I'll get back with the Justin Bieber references here in a
exactly.
minute.
I'm more of a,
Redeem myself.
I'm more of a Lance Bass sort of man. But anyway, Crown and Bridge is the one that everyone's talking about right now, especially with the new ADA codes. Um, the this year Sprint Ray came out with the what was it, the Crown and Bridge material, Sprint Ray Crown.
Hmm.
70 was it 72? No, not 72. And it's what's the crown code? For all ceramic crowns,
2750.
2750. Yeah. And so like regular crowns, we can
There's a
make
Van
regular
Halen
crowns
album.
now. We can,
2750.
yeah, we can print these out. Blue Sky Plan makes these crowns. They do this all the time. Clinics with through CAD Ray. Clinics has a really sweet little program. I don't use it too much, honestly, just because I'm so used to Blue Sky Plan, but I'll be training that as well, just because it's a really some of my friends love this program. I can see why it's really DA friendly in my opinion. And we got all of our participants will have a 2 week license for it for free, which is really nice of CAD Ray. I love that. We'll
And that's
be
all
training.
online, so I mean it's easy
Yeah, oh no,
access.
it's really 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 friendly. Honestly, it's like super user friendly. It's a little too user friendly for me. I kind of want more options honestly with it, but they're kind of in their their early years with it, so I don't blame them for not having a lot of options with it. I think they're just trying to get to market, and it's a really slick little software. Honestly, I've had zero issues with fit. Um, they still got a little bit of just a little bit of touching up to do. Their splints are phenomenal. I don't have you played with their splint software yet with it, Jason?
Yeah, a little bit.
I love their splints. I've actually had zero issues with their splints fitting. In my mind, it's the premier one to go with. But the crowns need just a hair bit more work. But of the 5 or 10 splints I've delivered with them, they'll all just dropped on in. They all fit like a glove. But anyway, the
What
crowns.
resin are you using?
I've been using the Pacnit Rodan splint. I've been loving it. It's really good. So it has a nice little flexibility to it, but also nice stiff. It has just nice a Goldilocks zone in my opinion. But
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it, but they're all kind of like about the same. Like I don't know, all split materials feel like they're about. I like printing splints. They're just so darn easy. You know, you print one, I print every single patient 3 different splints. But I say that for a lot of dentists, this is kind of an easy place to start at. Dentists want to print crowns in their office, especially if you're doing any anterior work. If you want to learn, these are easy cases to get into because everyone's doing crowns. If you do any anterior work at all, there's nothing easier than saying, temping 7 to 10 sucks, in my opinion. I don't know if you're good at that, Jason. I suck at it. Um, I would rather
Sorry.
print out temps on 7 to 10 any day of the week than try to temporize those with Bisacryl. So that's me. But you
That ain't
can
no fun.
print, you know, you can print out these in with a Pactent resin or a Sprint Ray Crown and Bridge resin. I like the Pactent resin because I'm a Accurata guy, but also the Pactent resin is significantly cheaper too than the Sprint Ray resin. That's my opinion at least. That's why I like the Pactent resin. You can make bridges as well in it. This is a case I did. You know, it's a nice looking bridge. It's kind of a weird case right here. This patient, she refused ortho. She's 65 years old. She's not going to ortho, and we have this gap right there. And we gave her a bridge. Looks pretty good. You know, not too bad. Had a sense of an alien milling. It fits like a glove. Next up, we can do wax up as well. Wax ups are, a wax up for a nice lab will cost you what, maybe $20 a unit or so.
Hmm.
But this is a case where this patient wanted just a wax up. We did you know, you can do either like a little traditional suck down wax up for a patient if you wanted to. Um, or kind of my favorite ones to do actually is just trial smiles, where we kind of do like a merger of the two between a bridge and a wax up, where you do the wax up and then you do kind of like almost like a Boolean subtraction, where you what's the word for it? You pretty much like almost create
Like a
like a
shell.
shell temporary over it, like
Hmm.
create like almost like a snap-on smile. And these are great because then the patient can just like put these in their mouth and then take it home for the day. Now I got to be careful with these because the patient might just take these home and never come back again. So you want to kind of make these weak enough so they actually break pretty quickly. That's my experience. Because I've definitely had patients
Start
try to
taking
wear
their
these.
Tinder pictures.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Patients will definitely
The bad
try
scene.
to. Yeah. They can do like they want to try to like get their money worth out of it. But no, I don't know. Have you played much with any of this stuff at all, Jason?
I have a little bit on Exocad, but yeah, I've seen a lot of people on Facebook doing it, and it's great. I mean, I've done the analog versions of them several times, and
Yeah.
that's a pain in the ass. If I could just glue it in and have it
Oh,
printed out and just
oh, it
go,
is. This is
much better.
really like this is kind of my first question. Is like if dentists who want to get into printing who don't do dentures, this is really where the easy stuff is. Like if you do any anterior work at all, a printer makes so much sense because it just saves you so much time. Um, delivering anterior
And
temps is a pain.
you can make 4 copies of this, and you drill it down, contour it, and put
Yeah,
some composite on there. You can put some composite on there, scan it again, get it ideal, scan it again, and just print yourself out another copy
e-
with a
exactly.
monolithic piece.
Oh no, it's just it's so easy and honestly like well the nice thing too is like even if the nice thing with all this material too is all like pretty much just it's all just printed composite is really all it is like chemically in my opinion. Maybe my opinion is worth very little honestly, so take that for what it's worth. But this all stuff plays very
Weakness.
nice with composite. So let's say that this is just I printed this out of Curo, which is Accurata's house brand of resin. Let's say this temporary material right here you don't like it when you print it out, and the patient wants to modify it a little bit. So you modify it chairside with just some whatever composite you like to use. Patient tries it out for a week, and their partner, their wife. This guy was a oil field guy, so he doesn't give a damn. But his wife, he's got a trophy wife, and so his wife got to approve it. And his wife says, "Yeah, this is what I want." Um, and for this guy right here, I'll tell you for exactly. We did 7 to 10 and crowns. He wanted to get partials as well. I'm not going to try to do Pontics on this guy. Fixed bridges. But yeah, his wife wanted something with him. I forgot what it was. And so I just pretty much added to it with just some flowable composite. And as soon as he approved it, I was able to just scan that and add it to the crowns at the end of the day. But this material is so friendly for most dentists to work with. And that's why I think most dentists should love this material because it really fits so well with our skill set. It's not like working with the porcelain, it's like working with the composite. Um, and I think so many dentists don't quite get that. And it fits well with our skill set, much more than Bisacryl, much more than acrylic, much more than porcelain, certainly. So yeah, I just love this material so much more. Um, and one more thing too, I would like to say, when I'm talking about both these materials, if you're going to be doing both dentures and crown and bridge, just buy one resin. Even if you're not taking my course, just buy crown and bridge resin, print everything monolithically, with the dentures and stain them. Like you saw beforehand, back when I did the one-piece denture right here, I printed that out one piece. I just stained it with OptiGlaze, and I did a really crappy job staining it because I don't really want these to look too pretty. That way she comes back to me. And yeah, you keep these really simple. But anyway, I digress. I can talk for hours about this stuff. But so
And you
last
will
but
at
not,
our class.
I
You can just
will.
look at it.
I will talk for 16 hours about this stuff, and probably more if you could take me out to dinner. Um, last but not least, I want to talk about implant crowns. I had a case a few weeks back with Jason. We had one shitty case sent home by 2 different surgeons because, of course, Jason works with 2 different surgeons on a shitty case. Um, you know, that's just his luck with 2 different surgeons with 2 different systems, of course. Where we just had to try to create some sort of contour. And I'm sure Jason's still in the depths of this shitty case. Honestly, I'm sure, right, Jason? You know,
We finally got him finished. It's
Hmm.
only been a
I'm
little
impressed.
year and a half.
I did
So
not. I thought you'd be in this case another 3 years. But like with this sort of stuff, you can create some crowns with time bases, and you can play a lot with it. Whether you love tie bases, don't like them, whatever. It's nice knowing you've got a cheap option to make some, you know, tie base crowns. And I think that's pretty darn powerful in my mind. And Blue Sky Plan does not charge you a dime for that, which I think is pretty darn nice of them, honestly. Um, But yeah,
Or even custom healers. I mean, a lot of people just do not contour the gingiva with implants and put.
yeah,
I know I was out of class recently and talking about just really skinny healing abutments and no
hmm
tissue contouring.
hmm
Um, and a lot of people don't do custom healers because they cost more and it's just more effort. But with
oh yeah.
this type of technology, you know, it's so much easier to do.
There's no reason not to do that anymore. Like especially because it's so easy and it's so cheap now. Like all it really takes is just a few more minutes of time. It's not we're not taking hours. We're just taking minutes right now and just spend a little more time to make the patient have a better life. Um, Last but not least, we go through a few more things that I don't quite do very often, but some patients might actually, or some dentists might. Um, Surgical guides. I think this is probably the classic one Jason was talking about beforehand. It was kind of like probably the OG of all things that got people really excited about, you know, printing. Actually, my periodontist came by a few weeks ago. She's a newer periodontist. She bought my retired periodontist office. I said, "Hey, let me show you how to make a surgical guide." 'Cause she doesn't have surgical. She doesn't have a surgical guide system in her office, and she made a surgical guide for one of our patients. Um, I can have a policy where this is number 30. I could have placed the implant, but in my mind, she did the surgery on our patient that she did perio surgery on. So in my mind, she gets the implant just because she did the surgery. It just makes for a better implant surgeon relationship, and she's going to do a great job. I know that, but I'm kind of insistent that she does it guided, just because that way we can all own the restorative aspect to it, and she loved it. So, and Accurata was kind enough to give me some images. Like these things can turn out really pretty. Make sure you're using a class 1 resin at least. The different classes of resin are class nothing, which means that you should not go in patient's mouth. Class 1 resin, which is like a surgical guide, which means that it can go over the mouth temporarily. Other resins would be like a Trian resin, or class 2 resins, which is like your long-term use, which is like denture resin, crown and bridge resin counts as well, or like a night guard resin. Those are class 2 resins. So, but I know a lot of dentists like surgical guides. That's really common. It's been spoken about for the longest time. August de Oliveira has a lot of good stuff on this, in my opinion. But yeah, everyone should make a surgical guides in the office if you do implants, in my opinion, at least. Um, yeah, that's pretty easy stuff. The next one is model work. I take it back. I actually do a lot of model work. I do a lot of Medicaid. I do a lot of Medicaid dentures. Because I can't print Medicaid parcels in the office, I like to tell my Medicaid labs exactly how to print stuff out, because the more information I get my Medicaid labs, the better work they do. I will literally send my Medicaid labs models, say, print this out here. And I find that when I tell my Medicaid labs who are used to working with crappier dentists, honestly, and I'll say that kind of unabashedly, they're used to working with dentists that probably send them alginates wrapped in, you know, wrapped in saran wrap with some wet paper towels, and they probably send it across country. You know, I like to send them, mounted models digitally and say, print these out here, and this is how I want the acrylic processed here. And when I do that, I get really good. I get parcels that fit perfectly because the labs know exactly what I want. So I do my own model work. It does take me an extra 5-10 minutes or so. But that being said, my parcels fit perfectly every single time because I tell my labs exactly what I want. So I'm a big fan of model work for that reason. Jason, you mentioned you do model work as well. Do you do much model work right now or not really?
Yeah, mostly like hand stuff because I'm
Okay.
not my face is not that great, but sometimes with lingerie. But
Okay.
no,
Perfect. Yeah.
yeah, models is the no brainer with 3D printing.
hmm
So it's you know I've talked to a couple dentists and they're like, we pour it up and it's like it doesn't seem like 3D printing would save time, and it just comes out so easily. If you
Yeah.
want to make 5 million copies of something, you can easily just make a perfect recreation within minutes.
Yeah.
There's no degradation. There's no assistant messing something up. The material alginate sitting out too long.
I,
It and it's you have a permanent record there. So
I,
many times have I gone back and pulled up somebody's record that I needed a pre-op model from a year ago, and it's just right there, and it's ready to roll. You don't have to store it.
completely
To
agree.
me, it just seems like a no-brainer. It seems like that's if you are to get started in 3D printing, just makes it seem so easy and so worth it.
I can, it's kind of funny. I used to share that sentimentality so much, like saying like, oh, it is kind of a pain in the ass to print things out. Like it really is kind of so pouring up stone is a lot easier than printing things out. I'll admit that completely. Like I still use stone quite a bit in my office, but that being said, like my assistants will, it's so often they get like a little stone, like a little bubble or something like that in the stone. Well, full disclosure, I still use a lot of alginate. Like, so if I need to take like an impression of a lower initialist arch, I'm not scanning it because that's a pain in the butt. Like scanning lower arches, unless you have a prime scan and are really good with it and have a lot more patience than I will ever have, I don't scan lower arches. I don't scan upper arches for complete dentures either. Unless I've got, I just don't scan arches, like full arches for dentures. Um, but if I've got dentate models, scanning is just so much easier. It just makes everything so much easier. And I'm a big fan too for whitening trays actually. Like I kind of do a little bit of a. Have you ever done the core technique before, Jason? Like, do you ever do core whitening?
I have it. I haven't done a whole lot with it.
So like I'll do the core whitening technique where like what that Rod Kurthy talks about, where you kind of scalp the margins and then like add a little bit
Hmm.
to the buckle, and man, you get some really nice whitening trays out of that. And I charge a little bit more for my whitening because of it, but man, my whitening trays are really good, and I don't pay Rod Kurthy the extra couple $100 that he wants for it. But guess what? My whitening works. So you know,
And I
I
say too, even just implant impressions. I
mm-hmm.
hate implant impressions
Mm,
in the analog,
darn straight.
but scanning so much easier, especially if you've got multiple units in there and you're trying to
Yeah.
position and unscrew this
Hmm.
and unscrew that, and you know, it's just it's a no brainer.
Completely agree. Completely agree. So yeah, I think model work, it seems really basic. It is really basic, but you know what? Models are what we work on. Like if you don't get good models, your lab doesn't know what the hell's going on. So yeah, that's what I think as well. Last but not least, and this is probably the thing I do the least amount, but everyone else does the most of, is night guards. Even though I use packed into Rodan night guard material, I didn't actually print my first night guard till about a month and a half ago or so. But yeah, you can make some really good night guard materials. Night guards are so darn easy to print. If you do any amount of night guards in your office at all, just do these. Like, I know Jason, you like night guards, don't you? You do these quite a bit, don't you?
I wouldn't say I do them quite a bit, but yeah, I do print them. Usually I use the Keysmith
Yeah,
soft
Keystone's kind of the
material.
classic one that everyone loves. Um, what's been your experience with these ones? How do you like them?
They're pretty good. I mean, the Keysmith, obviously you can put in some warm water and get it to mold a little bit. So
Hmm.
it does have some thermoplastic properties. It
Hmm.
is, I mean, it's analogous to what you get from the lab once you get them polished up. I mean, I don't see
Yeah,
much difference than what you get from the lab. I mean, and then too, you have a copy of it that if it breaks or does anything like that, you could print out 3 or 4 of these for about the
yeah,
same price that you're paying, and have give them to the patient, and you know you're the person that gives them 3 night guards for the price of this instead of the one guy down the street that's charging 500 and getting one. So
yeah,
it allows you to set yourself apart a little bit too.
yeah. I've been giving out three. I've just been giving out 3 copies of them because I find they're just a little more brittle. Maybe I just don't trust them just very much right now. But I'm like, here's 3, because I'll print out 3 of them just in case one of them doesn't print right. I'm like, here you go, here's 3. So I'm not gonna keep them around. Because they're just so easy to make. And then if they break one, whatever, here goes another one. But I know like our friend Colin Lathrop, I think, does a genius way because he's such a good hygiene. Colin Lathrop's a genius businessman, far smarter than either one of us are, I think. And I think he's a hygienist trained to be like, do you need a night guard? Yeah. Great, let's scan you up right now. And by the time they're done with the hygiene appointment, it's already ready to get delivered, which is just genius in my
Yeah,
mind. So yeah,
yeah.
I can see that 100%. So yeah, if you do night guards at all in your office, I think the printers make a lot of sense. Honestly, it's not something that I do, not something that Jason apparently does very much. But if you love night cards, printers will make their money back very quickly. But yeah, that's kind
Yeah,
of its
and
presentation.
yeah, yeah, there's softwares out there that have good AI that you can pop them in and make them, so it's not really design heavy.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
if you have a single one, you can print it out pretty quickly.
Oh yeah. No. This is well, actually, those print the sole actually printed out within I think like 40 minutes or so because it's all the clear resin. Clear resin prints out really quickly on all these printers. Well, what is your sprint rate for now? Do you know off the top of your head? Okay,
I
probably
don't
not.
know. Time
It
wise, I don't know. I
it
gotta
probably
look
prints
it up.
about
Probably about
30 minutes or so
30
for
minutes
something
maybe.
like that. I bet you good money. But especially do that kind of that nice 45-degree angle. That's what the printers like to be printed out. Things like to be printed out at 45-degree angles as a rule of thumb. But yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope that presentation was kind of useful. That went a little long, 40 minutes or so. Yeah, we're doing our class at the end of May. We'd love to have you come out there. We got a really fun course. It should be the introduction of the JLIPS. What's the title of your center called?
Right now, it's a working title. I'm calling it the Dental Disrupt Learning Center.
Okay.
I have a small space behind. There's a golf course down the street from us called Independence Golf Course,
Mm-hmm.
and they actually have commercial space behind it, which I wasn't aware of. And so I'm going to have a little small boutique office in there with two chairs, and then we're going to have some space for some hands-on. The grounds is really beautiful. If you want to play golf, it's right out our door. They have a couple good restaurants there. There's lots of cool little things to do around town. A lot of breweries and restaurants and cool places to stay. So if you've never been to Richmond, Virginia, it's a nice little stay. It's just a relaxing little town. So yeah, it should be pretty cool. I figured a space on a golf course was pretty unique. So, and dentists seem to like golf, so why not?
I love it. I love it. I love it. Fantastic, Jason. Well, thank you so much for joining me for the hour. And like I said, if y'all want to come join our course, it'll be on the tickets are at genterce.com. Or if you have more questions, either reach out to either one of us on Facebook. We're always around because we have no free time on our hands, clearly. So
Yes, and I have no friends, so
we have no
I'm
friends.
always
Neither do
here
I.
waiting
Clearly,
for your approval. Yeah.
so for Jason Iscombe, I'm Russell Schaefer. Peace out, y'all. Thank you all so much.